All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of MasterClass. I am your host, Trevor Burnett. And today, as you see on the slide here, I'll bring in a couple in just a minute, our guests. So we're broadcasting a little bit earlier than usual to be slightly more time zone friendly with our European audience, but also because my guests today hail from across the Atlantic from me. So I'll go ahead and bring my two guests in here. So first, Emil, my Impartner coworker, Emil van de Klok. In case you didn't see episode 3 of Masterclass when I last had him on, I'll let you know that he's the Senior Director of Channel Marketing Solutions at Impartner. Or in other words, he's our resident expert in all things partner marketing. But he's especially passionate about paid media marketing collaboratively. I have a hard time with that word. Collaboratively with our partners. And relevant to today's session, which is unlocking the power of AI for better partner ROI, we've also asked Torkel Ullman of Amanda AI to join us. And so, Torkel, I'll turn it over to you to introduce yourself and jump into the session content, which I'm really excited myself to hear about. Hopefully, it's very useful for our audience because AI is undoubtedly the hottest topic right now. So, really excited to hear about this, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you for that introduction, Trevor, and a big thank you to Impartner for giving us the opportunity to speak to all of you a little bit about what we're doing. We will have time for questions at the end. I love questions, so don't be afraid. There's no stupid questions. Just fire away in the chat, and we'll take as many as we have time for. So, who am I? My name is Torkel Ullman. I'm the CTO and co-founder of a company that's called Amanda AI. My oldest son, he once described me as the second best grown-up in the family, and I don't think you should overthink that statement too much, but fair enough. Amanda AI, we are a company that automates digital marketing. We do it fully automatic, and we currently have support for the channels Google, Meta, and Bing, and all underlying campaign types. We do this for more than 2,000 budgets, serving more than 400 customers worldwide, and we do it fully automatically. So we do not have any consultancies adding keywords, updating ad copy, managing budgets, etc. Everything is fully automatic, and some things are with machine learning modules, and some things are with reinforced learning modules. And as you said, Trevor, it's quite a hype around AI. So I think I'm going to start by giving some context about what it is we're doing, because we're not a chat GPT, we're not a generative AI, we're an AI that's optimized for an optimal goal. And when we started this company, me and Göran, who is my co-founder, we previously worked at managing an e-commerce site. It was a very large e-commerce site. We had more than 300,000 products. We were present in several different markets. We had more than 1,000 categories, more than 1,000 different vendors we were resellers of, and we sold IT products. So we knew that the intent behind these products were very high. People are searching for the products because they either want to start researching for a purchase, or they want to do a purchase or something similar. When you have products like Cisco Meraki Switch, you don't have that many people searching for it just for fun. So we knew that if we could present these search queries, the revenue would follow. And we weren't really happy with the results we were having, so we decided to test this. And we tested it by setting different agencies against each other in the different countries. And then in one country, we set a bunch of students to do this optimization. And we did that because the next building were a high school, and we could give them a fairly slim framework. This is how you work with digital marketing. You add some keywords, what you want to be visible on. You copy the URL from the site, you copy some text from the site into the ad. If the campaign goes well, you increase budget. If it doesn't go well, you decrease budget, etc. But it was fairly slim. But we still saw that these students outperformed the other markets by far, by a big margin. And it wasn't because they were more intelligent than the agencies, or they had more knowledge about Google and digital marketing or something like that. It was because they had the time to put more hours into it because they were cheaper by the hour. And that's sort of where the idea was born, that if the number of optimizations somewhere equals the result, as long as you do it data driven, then this is a perfect case for automation. And then as I said, we have expanded that to machine learning and reinforced learning. But it's not more complicated than that. We take frameworks, basically how you work with something today manually. We put that into frameworks and we put it into an automation or an AI. For some things, you need more complex calculations. Some things are customer specific and needs to be dynamic, and it needs to be a learning module for it to work, but it's not something sort of black boxy. It's just, this is how you do it manually, and this is how we do it automatically. It is basically the same, except extremely much more granular, extremely much more frequent. And Google Ads is a very important channel for most companies out there. Most of the purchase journeys or research journeys, they start with Google. Regardless if you're searching and you're going to purchase a server and you want to know how to configure it, or you want to purchase a phone case for your mobile phone, it starts with Google or it ends with Google. Either you need to find information about the product, how do I configure it? Perhaps you want to find someone to ask some questions if it's big purchases, or perhaps just want to know, where is the nearest reseller? Where can I purchase this product? And if you aren't visible on Google, you have the risk of losing that conversion or that purchase to a competitor. So why do you need AI to optimize your digital marketing? Well, Google works in the way of you as a customer, you as a user. You give Google input and you give them signals. In order for Google to know what you want, you need to give them something. You need to give them the search terms you want to be visible on, or the keywords. You need to give them a conversion point, something that tells Google that if this is fulfilled, I have done a good job. This is a conversion. This is something that is worth something for my customer. So you give Google signals and you give them input. And let's say that I sell printers. I'm going to give them the input printers. I'm going to give them the keyword printer. I want to be visible on printers. I write some ad copy around that. I give them a URL. So this is where I want people to end up when I click on the URL. And I give them a conversion point. If they fill in this form, or if they click the contact me, then I'm happy. That is what I want to achieve. Easy enough, but also quite complex. Printer as a keyword can be so many different things. It can be someone searching for a photocopy printer. It can be someone who wants to know how are printers made or have some information about them. It can be someone who's searching for toners or cartridges for their printers. There's so many different aspects of this. So for you as an advertiser to get the best result possible, so the so-called optimal result, you need to evaluate each and every single of these search queries. You need to see, okay, I had the keyword printer that generated the search term office printer or business printer or A3 printer, and that search term gave me a better result than all the other, and then I'll add it, and then I can spend my money solely on that, and I can ignore the other search terms. And that is just one part of it. You have the second part of this, which is the audience behind it. So you have the search terms, what keywords you want to be visible on, and then you have the audiences. Yeah, LinkedIn user, negative keywords are so useful. Negative keywords is a great example. You're gonna generate a lot of irrelevant keywords. You can add them to exact match, to prioritize, or to push budgets to it, and you can add negative keywords to not serve on those negative keywords. But you also have the users behind it. So you have a keyword, something you want to be visible on, and then you have someone doing that search query, someone searching on Google. And as we said before, all search queries are intent based. No one is searching for just some random stuff and not expecting any answer at all. So how does that differentiate for you or for your customer or for your partner? How does age impact conversion rates or return on ad spend? How does gender, how does location, how does web market interests? You're also going to have these variations in audiences that differentiate a lot depending on what you're selling. If you're selling t-shirts, and just as an example, perhaps you in your market have 1,000 searches for t-shirts every day. Not all of those 1,000 searches are potential purchases for you. It's not going to be the right customer for you. Perhaps you're a high-end brand, you're selling $300 t-shirts, then you're going to want to target a specific audience group of all those potential thousands. And Google gives us the opportunity to either give them signals, which ones are the most important audiences that I can target. They give us the opportunity to include and exclude. They give us the opportunity to use audience signals based off web browser behavior and similar. And if you combine all those different audience signals that you can push into Google Ads, you are running up to 110 million different possible combinations, which is a huge amount of data to take into consideration, and it becomes overwhelming. The same thing goes for search queries. If you want an optimal result, you quite quickly run up to quite a lot of search queries. A few €100 a month can easily become a few thousand search queries a month that you, if you want the best possible result, you need to take it into consideration. You need to take a decision on every single one of those search queries. And in an optimal world, you also want to combine that with an audience signal and telling either Google or telling Google that you want to prioritize certain audiences or deprioritize certain audiences. And this is just for one single general account. So this is if you're running one account in one market or a few markets. If you're running partner advertisement and you want to push this out in scale, you need to take into consideration all the different locations, all the different languages, a bunch of different budgets that needs to be distributed, etc. And that's why I think this solution we have together with Impartner is so beautiful. It's built for scale and it's built for huge amount of data sets. And Emil is going to explain a little bit more about how we do this together.
Yeah, many thanks, Torkel, for this explanation. And I think it's exactly like you're saying. There's so much work, manual work to do, and then we're just talking about one account. The more work you do, the better the results can be. I think you've proven that in practice. So, but if you've got a channel, so imagine yourself, you now need to run these campaigns with all your partners, or maybe even a group of 20 of your partners. It's already a lot of work to manage this. So you're a vendor, you've got your partner channel, and today, as Torkel was saying, if you're not out there on the internet, you're not visible on the search result page, then you lose opportunities for sure. So my experience in the channel, 20 years of experience in the channel, if I go to partners and say like, hey, what do you want from me as a vendor? or from the vendor, then most times the first thing they say is give me leads. With Google Ads, you create new business leads because there are people searching out there showing their intent, and they're looking locally where they can buy your products. So it's in the interest of many organizations to run campaigns, Google Ads campaigns, but it can also be LinkedIn campaigns, it can be Facebook Ads campaigns, but run advertising campaigns together with their partners. But the big question is how, right? And this is where we ran into when we started the whole journey with the first solution with Google Ads. It's like we run into many companies that said like, hey, we wanted to do this already for a couple of years, but we failed because as soon as we need to align with partners, they get agencies that gonna request, let's say, the brand guidelines and everything. So it's gonna cost us a lot of time to do this. At the same time, we are not really in control of what they're doing because we don't have any visibility in it. And the last thing is once they start advertising, from the 100 partners, maybe 5 were doing it. Today, that's growing. So also the problem is growing because once they start advertising and it's not aligned, then we start actually competing against each other, which is very strange. We are a vendor, these are our resellers, but online we compete against each other with the bidding because we all bid for the same keywords. So that means the price goes up, and that means the campaign cost goes up in general. So what we have done from an Impartner perspective is said, like, we need to turn around this model. Instead of that you build a campaign per partner, you basically say you build one campaign on vendor level, and then you can activate that campaign per partner in its own region and personalize it in an automated way, which is more than just the Google Ads campaign itself. Because if you click on the advertisement, you need to go to a website, to a landing page. You're not in control of the websites of your partners. So that's going to be very difficult to do that in a cost-efficient way because every website is different. So within our platform, you can build also the landing pages and co-brand them in an automated way for every partner. So that means if we go into the Impartner platform, you can set up a Google Ads campaign, one campaign, and the technology will automatically, whether it's 20 partners, whether it's 50 partners, 100, 1,000 partners, the technology will automatically set up an account for all those partners and will automatically configure all those campaigns for those partners in their own region using their own contact details and branding. So their logo, their phone number, their company name, but the technology is doing that. So you have to work for one company, but you can do it for very scalable for hundreds at the same time, which saves a dramatic amount of cost because everybody needs to create the landing pages and Google Ads campaign, which is consultancy costs, right? So you've got 1 versus 100 times the cost. And then think just about also the conversion tracking. That's all done in an automated way as well. So, and then if a lead is generated for a partner, then it's distributed to that partner straight away. So for us, it was like, hey, we had built a system that we could run scalable campaigns with many partners at the same time. But then, of course, we run into the issue like, okay, but now we still need to optimize these campaigns. And how are we going to do that? And this is where we started working together with Amanda AI. And as Torkel just explained, that's where you join two technologies that on the one hand make it very scalable to create campaigns in a scalable way and roll it and activate it. And on the other hand, the continuous optimizations that are necessary is done also fully automatically. So you're even reducing much more cost there. I just as one example, because I think the title of this presentation is about the ROI of this. I can tell you again, like Torkel was saying in this example, we had with customers the best people that we have to build campaigns and to optimize campaigns. We even, because of the relationship, the partnership that we had with Google, we had people from Google coming over to optimize the campaigns for us and to improve campaign results. So we had that experience for a couple of years before we started using the technology from Amanda. As soon as we done it, we had an average cost of cost per lead, which went down with average 25%. So, and that I think confirms what Torkel is saying. It is the amount of optimizations that can be done. If I look today in our accounts, then the Amanda AI technology is doing up to 1,000, sometimes 2,000 changes per account per day. That's amazing, right? So if you've got 300 accounts running at the same time, it's a huge amount of optimizations per day, which can be bidding, it can be keywords, but Jocko will explain a little bit more about that later on. But that's the power of, let's say, this solution. So it's not just the cost reduction. The AI takes also part of, let's say, the reduction in the cost per lead, because the cost per click goes down, and the bidding against each other can be arranged because it's all via the AI. Last thing to say about this before I hand it over back to Torkel is just think about the fact, like, if you run a campaign with one account, you have the data of one account, and you've got the conversion data of one account. If you suddenly have 20, 100, or even 1,000 partners, you've got the data of the whole group together, which is the big data. So the conversion data of the whole group. That means the bigger the data, the quicker the decisions and the better decisions you can make on it. And that's what we experienced with our campaigns, is that because of the group data working together, the results were much better, and the results optimizations goes much faster because you can just take the group data instead of single data. I hand it back to Torkel. You can explain more of some of those details, what you can exactly do with the AI.
Yeah, sure. I think you handle it very well, Emil. It's almost like you should be a sales rep at our at Amanda. No, but it is, as Emil said, it is quite a unique. It's a contradictory statement, but it is a unique solution, and it is very it's very beautiful the way it can scale, and scaling is often an issue, especially if you're talking about partner marketing. When you're talking about large amount of campaigns or accounts or locations, it quite quickly become quite expensive to manage it manually. Even if you don't have that big of campaigns, but let's say you have 50 partners and you have 3 campaigns per partner because you want to divide it into different campaigns for different reasons, then you still have 150 budgets that needs to be paced every single month. And budgets are one of the most important parts of digital marketing, and you will generate a huge amount of search queries that, even if you take the lowest baseline of something to make this good, you still need to evaluate and take decision on the top percentage of those search queries. And that will still be several hundred search queries a month that you need to take some decision on. And furthermore, as Emil said, all, without getting too technical, all machine learning algorithms, be it Google or Meta or LinkedIn or Bing or Amazon or whatever, they learn better the more conversions they have. And that is also an issue if you have a fragmented campaign structure. If you want to spend smaller sets of budgets in different markets, then you need some way to aggregate it. But that's the beautiful thing with machines. The machines doesn't care if they do a couple of thousand optimizations a day or a couple of million optimizations a day. It's all the same to the machine. It will optimize everything that comes into the account towards the goal that is set, that is usually leads, and it will only take data-driven decisions. Does this work? Yes or no? Is this better than average or better than expected? Yes or no? Will this increase the total result? Yes or no? We don't have time to go through all the features we have, but I think there are a few that can be extra interesting in this partnership we have. And one of them is dynamic ad copy, that you can have ad copy with a brand, with a partner. You can push in locational ad copy if you want some city, or if you want product categories, or if you want a certain set of keywords, but you can have unique ad copy per partner, or per campaign, or per account, or how you want to structure it. We have support for 98 languages, so we will mine keywords in local language. If you have campaigns in English-speaking countries, we will mine in English. If you have French customers, we will add and mine and create the keywords in French, and so on. We do have budget pacing, which is very important. It is how do I manage the ad spend in the best possible way across a month. So how can I use this in the most efficient way? And if you're a B2B company, you're probably not going to have as much efficiency advertising on weekends, on holidays, when people are getting paid, are probably not going to impact you as much as if you're a B2C company. And if you're a B2C company, it will probably be inverted to that, so the other way around. If you're a subscription service, you probably will have peaks in the beginning or at the end of the month. And also, how do you manage the budgets across these campaigns in all the accounts? All this is done individually by each account. So obviously there are different patterns in different markets and areas. And last but not least, aggregated data. It is a gold mine for a company such as ourselves to be able to aggregate the data from several different underlying accounts. So if you run partner campaigns and you have 50 campaigns, then we have 50 accounts which we can aggregate data to. It will the accounts with the least amount of data will inherit data from the big aggregated account, and that gives you a very much better learning than if you do it separately. And I think we are running a little bit out of time. If I see
if we go over a little over time, that's okay.
A little over time, yeah.
We usually do.
You usually do, yeah. Yeah, so this is just it's not a silly quote. I like it from Dijkstra. It's the biggest pushback we used to get. It has changed a little bit with ChatGPT. Is the intelligence behind it? Is AI, can machines really be intelligent? And there's a lot of discussions regarding intelligence, especially in the AI community and how you define it. But there are certain things which machines are better suited for than people. And when we're talking about optimizing digital marketing, especially performance marketing, we're talking about taking into consideration large sets of data, huge sets of data, several different signals and inputs. We're talking about understanding correlations, causalities, autocorrelations, and we're talking about taking data-driven decisions based on historical data. And there is no competition there if you compare a machine to a man. For anyone who is skeptical, feel free to compete with Excel in just simple calculation in sets of data. No one will beat them. No, this is sort of a perfect case for automation. I promised you 5 minutes of question at the end. Let's at least have 2 minutes, I hope, or 1 minute and 10 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll take a few here. So let's see. We did have a comment that negative keywords are so useful. I'm too much of a novice to understand. What is a negative keyword?
So you can say that you want to be visible on a keyword. So let's take printers, but then you can say, but if the search term, if the sentence someone is searching includes the keyword, let's say office, I do not want to be visible on that. So then you're visible on printers, but you're not visible on office printers, for example.
Got it. So it's like a filter, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Let's see. Looks like this one might be for you, Emil. So you were saying you separate a Google campaign, for example, by region, but what if they don't care about region and it's just more of a digital solution where location doesn't matter as much? How can you decide which partner gets that ad or which one gets the lead?
Yep. So I can quickly give an answer on that one. Of course, if you work with regions and you've got a clear separation, so like, hey, this advertiser advertising this geographical region, this one and the other one. But if you are not dependent on regions because your partners are across the country, then that requires always a different kind of strategy. The first thing that we always look in is like how much search volume is available, right? So we know that if we talk to a corporate, they sometimes have millions of budget to spend, media budget. As soon as you go to partners, and especially with MDF budgets or co-op fund available, then we're not talking about the millions anymore. Right? So you talk about maybe €1,000 or €500 or $500 or $1,500 a month per partner. So the first thing we do, because most times this is not regional, but then it's on country level, we just do the research based on the historical data of Google, based on our keywords, to say like how much volume is available. So that means how many people historically are searching for these kind of keywords. If we found out like, hey, with an average cost of, let's say, cost per click of 50 cents or $1, there is availability for, let's say, $10,000 or $15,000 to spend each month, and you've got 5 partners and each partner spends $1,000, then it's not a problem because everybody will spend its budget with $1,000. You can't get more. So even that there is 5 partners at the same time activated, they all get their fair share, right? So most times this is the case because you are talking about a larger region with much more volume available. As soon as you run into those limits, then it's more a strategic question on how to do this. And then you can even say like, hey, you've got Google, you've got LinkedIn, and the one is advertising on one solution, the other on the other solution. So I think it requires some thinking, but it also requires some research before saying like we can't do it because they're competing against each other. Just remember, we are in control of the bidding, right? Because the bidding is done centrally and not on an individual partner level. So they can't change the bidding. The machine is doing that. So that at least avoids that they start competing against each other for the best bid or best search result pages or position on the search result page. Let's put it like that. So I hope that answered the question a little bit, but there's much more to say about this.
Don't get Emil started. All right.
So,
whoops! I clicked on the wrong thing. Hey, so we had a great comment, not so much a question, but amazing masterclass. So good job, guys. But one more question we have time for. Thanks, Randall, by the way, for that comment. So how does this technology apply to B2B companies that struggle with the same example of the printer like Torkel was talking about? For example, I sell industrial printers and my ads struggle to target to the right audience and generate conversions. Sorry.
That's a great question. And the company I was at previously, we were only B2B, and it is actually often more easy to isolate a B2B user than it is to isolate certain audiences within B2C, because B2B is generally quite heavily influenced by certain in-market interests, for example, that aren't used in your everyday life. For example, there is an audience segment that is called interested in business productivity software. If that is someone that has that affinity, then they're sitting on a device where they're using business productivity software. It's not waterproof, but you can use that, and you can use other combinations of signals to identify which people are B2B users. Again, it depends on the setup, but if you're running a partner campaign through corporate, and corporate can share user data, so they can connect their Google Ads, their Google Analytics to the ads account that run the partner campaigns, you can build a lot of audience models based off the corporate account. So then you can identify, okay, this is the big corporate manufacturer. They have thousands of orders, and they are centralized around these different audience signals, and then you build the targeting around that.
Yeah, and I think one thing to add here, Torkel, is in our campaigns we are doing this, so more the retargeting of, let's say, visitors of corporate websites. We know from our data that between 8-11% of the conversions come from that sort of visitors that we can specifically retarget, which is very interesting for any partner that wants to participate, because if you say, like, do you want to show your ad to people that visit the corporate website that was looking for the products that you resell, then nobody will say, like, no, I'm not interested, right? But if they want to do that themselves, a corporate will never give access to all those lists to all the individual partners. So you centralize it again, and then all the partners have access to it. So that's one. And I think, Torkel, like you've explained to me many times, is like the AI can test all the audiences. So you can select audiences up front, but the AI will find out sometimes that certain audience that you even didn't think about is actually converting very well. And I remember once, very nice example that you said, like, hey, we analyzed it, but somehow people that are interested in Mother's Day are actually converting on this technology. So we didn't expect that one. But, that was
no, and it's a fun one, and it's often as often the negative as the positives. You can basically, if you're B2B, the machine is quite quickly going to exclude everyone in university, everyone in school, everyone under certain age group will be heavily negatively impacted by that. It will be a few of those segments which are pushed down, and then the positive ones will be pushed up. So it's not only about the positive adjustments, it's also about the negative adjustments.
All right. Oh, I didn't mean to highlight myself, but here we go. All right. Well, that is all the time that we have. Thank you so much, Emil and Torkel, for joining. And yeah, as the comments were saying, it sounds like it was very useful to our audience. So that's always the goal that we're going for here. So appreciate you guys for joining, and we'll catch everybody next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.